What's up everybody, 40 the Broadway Saiyan here, and welcome back again to my YouTube channel with another video on Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis. In this video, I'm going to help prepare you guys ahead of time for the upcoming Ifrit Co-op event that we're going to be getting very soon in the game. Now, the video is intended to help you guys prepare whichever character you're going to be using for co-op, so then that way you can contribute to the battle, because this co-op is going to be based off of the solo Ifrit Summon event, and we know that these fights are a little bit more difficult, especially as we progress through the harder levels, and you definitely want to be prepared. And even if you are of a lower level, you don't want to be a liability. So I know some of you guys that are part of communities for evercrisis that are being carried and helped by some of the stronger players. Sometimes even the whales, or even like those with really powerful characters, can struggle to carry you if you don't give some sort of contribution in terms of the co-op. So this guide is intended to help you, see what you need, prepare ahead of time, so then that way, even if you are of a lower level, you could still contribute something to help these co-op runs go smoothly. So I'm going to go ahead and start off on which characters currently in the game have access to an ice elemental weapon that is within the gacha. I understand that there are weapons that are farmable, that are free-to-play friendly, that are ice element. However, we're going to cover the gacha ones first. So the first character that has this is Aerith with the silver staff. The damage modifiers are right there from OB0 to OB10. It's a 290% AoE magic ice damage, and then at OB10 it's 540% AoE ice magic damage. At R1, the reinforcement ability 1, you get boost attack, which boosts both physical and magical offense, and then on R2 you get that boost ice potency. Cloud is the second person to have an ice weapon from the gacha. It is the enhanced sword. At OB0 it's at 280% AoE magic ice damage, and then at OB10 it is a 520% AoE magic ice damage. The reinforcement ability 1 is pretty much the same thing as Silver Staff, boost attack to both physical and magic, and then the reinforcement ability 2 is boost ice potency. The last character to have an ice weapon from the gacha is going to be Matt with his Absolute Royal. His OB0 starts off at 290% AoE magic ice damage, and his OB10 is at 540 AoE magic ice damage. His reinforcement abilities are boost magic attack, and his reinforcement ability 2 is boost ice potency. Obviously, the best choice here, if you have any of these characters built and you want to use them for co-op, is Matt, because his not only has a modifier that's tied with Aerith's, but the reinforcement ability 1 is better than both Cloud's and Aerith's because it focuses on the magic attack, and because the damage being dealt is magic, this is going to be the weapon of choice, assuming that you've built Matt and assuming that you have this weapon on hand. But these are the 3 characters that currently have an ice weapon within the gacha. Now we are going to take a look at the characters that have access to a farmable free-to-play weapon within the game. The first one is Barret with the Shiva cannon. Now the stats that you see here are going to be based off of if it's a 5-star, because I know that you could get this at a 4-star, but honestly, if you're going to be using these weapons, you would ideally want to farm it to at least a 5-star. So at OB0, the damage dealt is 320%. This time it's single target magic ice damage rather than AoE like the gacha weapons. At OB10, that jumps up all the way to 450% single target magic ice damage. Reinforcement ability 1 is boost fire resistance, with reinforcement ability 2 being boost HP. So it gives you more of a defensive boost rather than an offensive boost. Shiva's blade is pretty much identical as Shiva's cannon, so it's 320% single target magic ice damage, and at OB10, same thing, 450%, with both of the reinforcement abilities being the same, boost fire resistance and boost HP. So if you are free to play and you are able to farm at least hard Shiva, it is very possible for you to unlock the 4-star and then upgrade this all the way to at least an OB0 5-star, because the modifier on this is actually higher than that of the gacha weapons at the start at OB0. It is at 320%. The only thing you're missing out on is the boost ice potency, which unfortunately these weapons don't have. But if you don't have any ice weapons and you use either of these characters for co-op, these are going to be some solid free-to-play options that you could consider to bring into the co-op event. The next piece of advice that I want to give you is the Materias that you want to definitely have on hand. So currently in the game, if we go to solo content, and this should still be available like right as the event drops, we have the Synthesis quest giving us a bit more drop. So what you would want to do is go in here, and you want to farm up the fire and ice stages. You want to get a bunch of those so then you can start crafting for magic users your fire and blizzard. And then for physical materia users, you want to craft the fire blow and the blizzard blow. I personally recommend you try to get at least 2 of the 3-star versions of each of these, but if you get decent substats on a 2-star, you could definitely go with that one, and then hopefully it upgrades to a 3-star. I wouldn't worry about getting a 4 or 5-star unless you're a perfectionist and you really want the maximum potential or close to it as possible. But as we know right now, substats, rarities, it's all up to RNG. Sometimes I feel like the timer doesn't even matter anymore. I used to think that the timer meant that you get it at max if you hit that timer that's listed. That's not the case, because I've been seeing people showing me, yo, I saw this at a higher time limit and I still got a 3-star. So who knows exactly how the material system works? I don't even know anymore. All I know is that there's a ton of RNG involved. So for me, I suggest that you farm up, or you farm up the materials to craft fire and ice, at least 2 copies of each the magic and physical, and you want to go hopefully with at least a good 3-star, if not a decent 2-star with good substats if you can. Now, the other piece of advice that I have is you're gonna want to get the breach materia for 1,000 crisis points. So we're gonna go ahead and go into dungeons. If you have access to this already and you have at least 1,000 and you haven't gotten this yet, you definitely should get the ice breach materia, because what this does is it allows whoever is using it to apply a debuff on the enemy target and make them further more vulnerable to the ice element. Because the way that the elemental resistance down works in this game is that the enemy target already has to be weak to that element, so then you apply the breach debuff and then it makes them further weak to it. I kind of wish it worked a bit better where it applies the elemental resistance down to an enemy that doesn't have the weakness, but it is what it is. But this is going to be very important and a materia that you want to have on hand, that you want to consider to equip on your character for co-op, so then that way you're providing some sort of support utility. Another option that you could also use if you don't want this materia is you could use some sort of like a healing spell, like the healing Esuna, healing fog, healing poison. Those are all fantastic spells. They're really good because they only cost 3 ATB bars. They will heal a status ailment, and they also give you a decent single target heal. So if you don't want to run the breach, you can run that. So then that way you could also provide some healing to your teammates. And then Ifrit is weak to I think it's the X sigil. Let me just double check. It's either X or circle. And I'm just assuming that they're going to give him the same sigil weakness or same sigil match. It is X. Okay, so you want to craft, Ruin for magic and Ruin Blow for physical if you're going to focus on the X sigil. Assuming again that the co-op version of this fight will have the same sigil weakness. I don't see why they would change that, but if they do, it's not hard to craft the ruins. But assuming that it is the X sigil, that is the one that you're going to definitely want to craft. Now, how would you structure your characters for this fight? Assuming you have some of the gear that I've mentioned and assuming that you have the materia available. Well, let's go ahead and go to party. So let's say for example, my mat is built, because I know I have Matt's Absolute Royal. Okay, so let's say you have Matt built and you want to use Matt. So we're gonna go ahead and take a look at his weapons. I don't prime number. Do I have his Orthodox? Oh, there it is. Absolute Royal. Okay, so let's say I have that. I'm gonna equip that. Okay, and then for his offhand, I'll go with what complements that. So we got a magic damage. So let's see what we get here. Boost heal, no. Boost HP. I could give him, no, that's physical. That could work because we get a boost magic attack. Let's see what we get here. Boost. This would actually be solid, because even though you're buffing his magic defense, this right here is very strong. And if you get that ability, the attack command stance at max, the damage modifier that is added to this is actually pretty huge. So this could be a very good secondary weapon, the SP Repair next G, if you are running Matt with his Absolute Royal. So I'm going to go ahead and choose that. And then let's say I want to provide, offensive support, and I want to provide some healing too. So in that case, what I'll do is I'll equip the Ice Breach, because I want to have that debuff on hand for the enemy target, which is Ifrit. I'm definitely going to want to put a heal. So I'm going to go with my Esuna, which is somewhere here. think I passed it. I need to reorganize my materia a little bit better, or use filters more. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here it is. Okay. Healing Essence of Poison. And then this slot, I'll likely give him the X sigil, assuming that that's what's going to be the sigil weakness for Ifrit. So I'm going to be giving him this one. And then afterwards, for the sub-weapons, you want to have a mix of like the elemental potency being boosted, which is ice if you happen to have that. You want to throw some HP. You want to also consider throwing in some magic attack, or if you don't have access to that, even the boost attack, which boosts both magic and physical. So then that way you have those options for offense. But that's how I would personally build. Like if you happen to have access to one of the gacha weapons for the characters that have ice element, and then if you don't, you could just strategize it kind of similarly if you're using like the free-to-play weapon for Barret or the free-to-play weapon for Cloud. But this is going to go ahead and help you guys prepare ahead of time for the upcoming Ifrit Co-op event for Final Fantasy VII Evercrisis. Let me know what your thoughts are down below. Let me know what builds you plan on using for the characters that you're going to be taking to co-op, and let me know how excited you are for this upcoming event. Thank you guys again for watching. Stay tuned for the next video, and stay blessed, everybody.
All the times we fought, we were together.